Hey guys, welcome back to Platinum Fishing. James here, and today we're going to talk about Texas rigging baits, the different type of hooks you can use, and the different kind of baits that you can Texas rig. All right, here we go. Let's talk about some of the different types of hooks that you might use to do a Texas rig. Now, most of the time, and for me, 100% of the time, I'm using an offset hook. So this hook here, for example, it has an offset at the top. You can see how it offsets there. And that's to hold your bait on. It works really well. This particular one, this is a wide gap. And you can see it doesn't line up here. This is just a regular offset hook. See how this lines up with the eye of the hook there? This is a good all-around hook to use for Texas rigging. You don't lose too many fish. It's pretty easy to rig it up this way. However, with that said, I do find myself mostly using the wide gap hook. You know, I just find it's easier to rig a lot of baits with this. Really, really good for, you know, bigger plastics, thicker plastics, but it works great for any plastics. The other thing I find is I get better and easier hook sets with it. I don't know if that's just me. And a lot of guys say that they lose more fish with these. I personally don't. I don't lose any more fish than I would, you know, with just a regular offset hook. And just for comparison, that's just a straight shank hook, just your rig. That's just a little small one, but I just put it there as an example. You can use these. It's just it doesn't hold the bait on, I find, as good. It kind of slides around on it. There's no need, I don't think, to use those, but I just have it there for example, because some guys might use those. But yeah, for me, as I said, the wide gap offset for most of the time is the way to go for me. That's what I use for my Texas rigs. Now, you can Texas rig pretty much anything you want. The whole point of a Texas rig is to make it weedless. A lot of times we're fishing near weeds or somewhere where we don't want the hook to catch on something. So I'm going to give you an example of actually how to Texas rig something. My favorite plastic being the stick bait, the Senko. I'm just going to use that as an example, but just there's other plastics, you know, flukes, plastic swim baits, just little minnow, one of those, the beaver creature bait. You can Texas rig anything. So I'm just going to show you an example. And I'll show you too what happens with the hook when you put just a regular offset hook through it compared to the wide gap. So I'll just do the regular offset first. So basically, here's the thing. When the hook is in there, it's going to be like this inside. I don't know if you can see that. So that's basically what the hook is going to look like inside. And I've done it, so many times I don't really need to look or, mock it up first. But if you're just starting out, it's a good idea to kind of just mock the hook up with the worm or whatever bait you're using, just to give an idea of how far the offset needs to go in. So you can see the offset there at the top. Probably I need to put the hook in about around that far. So what you do, you take your hook and you put it in. Okay, so that's in about that far. Okay, and now you want to take it out the side just like that. Okay, so that's all I've done. Keep feeding it through. feeding it through, feeding it through. And then when it gets to where the offset is, you want to turn it. And see how it goes in nice like that? I'll show you one more time here. So we've put it in. Gets to there. We want to turn it. And it goes in. Pretty simple. Okay, so we want it in there right about there. Now, some guys, they mostly do this with an offset hook, but it'll poke out at the end and then they'll tuck it underneath. Honestly, I do it both ways. I usually do it where the hook comes out, and I'll show you what I mean. But you can just bury it in the worm like this. And then just get it close to the top. So I can almost feel, if I push hard enough, I can feel the hook there. So that's completely buried in there. That's one way of doing it. The other way, just going up till see how it comes out. It's coming out. And now it's just sitting on the top. And then what you do, pull it forward a bit and bury it in there. See how that just slides? Now, what's nice about doing it this way is a fish doesn't need to really hit it too hard. Like, it doesn't take too much to break that little piece of the worm and the hook to come out. Like, boom, that's out like that. You can bury it a little better if you want. But yeah, once they hit it, it comes out so easy. Now, you just want to, every time you bring your worm in, you just want to double check it before you cast that it's not out, because if it's out, it's going to catch weeds. So if you're finding it's catching weeds a lot and it's coming out a lot, you can just bury it completely in there. But when you bury it, try to get it close to the top here. Like, I can feel the hook right here, and that's where you'll want it. Okay, so that's your basic Texas rig. Now with your wide gap hook, it's pretty much the same, except note, like as we talked about before, it doesn't line up. So no big deal. We just kind of offset it a little bit there when we put it in, but that's going to stick out for sure. Like, most of the time, that's going to stick out. So you put it through like normal. Okay, I can see kind of where it needs to go there. Get an idea where to stick it in. Right about there. Okay, and then that's going to stick out a little bit like that. No problem. Just put it under. Just like that. You're good to go. And now that's weedless. And this, most of the time, is the way that I do a Texas rig. Now, you can Texas rig other things really easy. If you want to do like a creature bait, no problem. So you do it all the same way. Just put it in at the top, out, run it down. Put it in. And tuck it. Just like that. And that's weedless now. So you can throw that pretty much wherever you want. Do the same with any of these baits. Ready to go. Texas rig. It's that easy. That's the Texas rig. Super easy to do. As you can see, you can do it on so many different baits, so many different plastic baits, pretty much whatever you want. Just use an offset hook, whether it's a wide gap or just a regular offset hook, that's fine, whatever works best for you. And you'll be fishing in the weeds and catching tons of fish before no time. I hope you learned something today. And if you did, or you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hammer that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I posted new videos. Thanks again for watching, and take care.